Hey guys, on this episode of Ham Radio for Non-Techies, we're going to discuss ham radio, but where are all the women in ham radio? That's right here and right now, so stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to Ham Radio for Non-Techies. If this is your first time, please consider liking this video, which will help the YouTube algorithm show my video to more people interested in ham radio. And consider subscribing if you like what I do here and like some other videos. Hit the little subscribe button, click the little bell, and you'll be notified whenever I do any new videos. My name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL, and I do run the Ham Radio for Non-Techies YouTube channel, as well as our website, which is hamradiofornontechies.com, full of useful information to help out anybody who's looking to get into the hobby or people that are already in the hobby is looking for extra resources for other things. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Today's topic, I think there's been some controversy about it in the past, and I don't know why. I know that ham radio is generally a male-dominated hobby, but there are women in the hobby that, also become licensed amateur radio operators, but it's not nearly as much as there are guys. So what's the deal with that? Is this not an interest in it? Are we not attracting them in a certain way to get them to want to be interested in ham radio, to get their license and be involved and participate and contribute to the hobby? Here's the things we want to talk about here. Back in 2017, the ARRL reported that women only represent 15% of the entire population of ham radio licensees. That's low. So, why would women want to get into the hobby? What can we do as ham radio people in this hobby or art? What can we do to help attract them and get them more interested in coming in, going and getting their license, getting on the radio, getting on the air, and being involved? So I think a lot of times we are probably viewed in their minds as nerdy, or it's an old man's hobby, or we're just a little weird. And some of that's true. We're a little bit, you gotta be a little bit of a nerd to be in ham radio. And there's people that have been around this thing for a long time. I've got plenty of people in my local club that have been hams for 30, 40, 50 years. So that does exist, but it's not the entire world of ham radio. With the recent turn of events from last year's lockdowns and everything else, we've seen a massive rise in new hams coming into the hobby. People going out getting their licenses, going out and buying their radios, and just getting involved with it. And whatever the reason for it is, they are coming in. And I know just from personal experience, my club does testing once a month. And since last year, when all the lockdowns started and everything else, when they started opening things up a little bit and they started opening up the examinations for people to come down and get their tests, they were full so bad that they had to split it into two different sessions, have like a 9 o'clock session and a 10:30 session. And even then, both those sessions each month got filled. And it's been going on like that. Even the most recent testing examination test session was full. You had to call in like a week or two ahead of time to make sure you had a reservation for yourself to get in there and get tested. So, there's a lot of people coming into ham radio right now. And I have to think, it'd be logical to think that it's not all guys. I'm sure it's mostly guys, but there's got to be some women going in. And I know for a fact my wife went in and got her license, recently. But I think, we as hams, we should be welcoming and friendly and encouraging to people that are interested in this or might go, oh, hey, what's that? And, talk to them. Don't get all nerdy and geek out on it, but talk about what it is and kind of, maybe think about it as if you're selling it to them. Grant Cardone, I read lots of Grant Cardone books. He has a book called Sell or Be Sold. And in that book, he describes that every single conversation you have, no matter who it is or when it is, you're selling them on your idea or they're selling you on their idea. So if you kind of look at it in that aspect, not that you're trying to sell them into anything, but find an exciting way to attract people into the hobby and say, hey, yeah, we got this offer here, we got this offer. There's so much stuff to do in ham radio. It's ridiculous. So even if you just did it for, like my original plan was just getting it for survivalist purposes. And of course, it turned into what it is now. And now we got a YouTube channel and radios all over the house and antennas everywhere. But, you got to find find a way to, entice people to want to get into it without making it sound too geeky, right? By participating in into the hobby, women, and I'm kind of speaking to the women here. I'm going to try to speak more to the women than the guys, because the guys, you're already part of the channel and you know all this stuff, right? But, I want to talk to the ladies. If you want to get into this hobby, there are things you can do. You can help out your community by being a ham radio operator, like during times with, like, especially down here in Texas, we get hit with hurricanes. We had a hurricane a couple years ago, put 14 feet of water in people's houses. So, power was out, communications were down, everything was gone. Having people in the hobby to help out with that and just relay messages from one place to another, getting things out to loved ones, I think that would really help out. And, and this is going to sound, don't take this the wrong way, but a woman's voice over a phone or over a radio can help soothe somebody on the other side who might be going through a rough time. They're freaking out. Their house just got flooded. Their house was on fire, or something happened, and they're freaking out and they're calling out for help. If you're on the other end and helping them, that can sometimes just the sound and tone of your voice can calm people and let them start thinking more clearly and make better decisions. So there are ways you can do this and be helpful to the community, as well as engaging in all the gadgets and toys and shopping and all the other crap that comes involved with ham radio, and still have fun with the hobby itself. So, other things, like if your family or your significant other and you like to go out and go camping and hiking, guys are known for stupid things like, hey, honey, watch me climb this rock. And next thing you know, they're under the rock. So, if they can't reach your radio, your license or whatever, or, you can get on the radio there and call for help. There's ways of doing things in ham radio where you can be involved in this. Just having it out while you're camping and hiking is a good thing. And even getting involved with what they call POTA and SOTA, which is Parks on the Air and Summits on the Air. Parks on the Air, you go out to a designated park that's listed in the official POTA website, and you can go on there with your radio and make a bunch of contacts, activate that park, and just have fun with that. Or if you do Summits on the Air, going out to a place up in Colorado or up in the Rockies somewhere, and you go up on top of a peak, set up an antenna, set up your radio equipment, and start making contacts there. You get to be out in the sunshine, you get to be away from all the world's BS, and you get to go have fun and play with some cool electronic toys and being completely off grid. And then you have, of course, you have Field Day, which is like a big, a big ham radio. It's like Christmas for ham radio, I guess you'd call it. It's the big day of the year for ham radio people, to go out there and try to make contacts, play with radios, share your stuff with other, talk to other people, learn about their equipment. It just gets all the ham radio operating people together in your various communities and getting out there and doing stuff. Another cool thing you can do is learning to build antennas. Right now, if you're just kind of watching my video here going, what's this guy talking about, this ham radio crap and building antennas? I don't give a crap about that until you build one. When you build one and use, like just stuff you find around the house and slap it together and throw it in your radio, and you reach somebody with something you built, there's a sense of accomplishment there, and it's kind of fun and just a slight bit addictive. So keep that in mind. There's all kinds of things you can test out, all the different activities in ham radio, like digital. There's a whole world of digital radio that we can get into with this hobby, HF contesting and so on. There's a lot of things, so you can find your place here. And I think that it's time that we, as the male hams in this hobby, try to encourage the ladies and the women to get into this hobby and become a contributing part of it. You guys have a great place here. There's plenty of room for everybody here. And I think it's time to bring y'all in and get you involved. I haven't looked up, I did some research before doing this show, and I found that there's a couple, I'm going to list two here, and the links be down below. There are two clubs that I found. One is a Young Ladies Radio League, and it's a group that is made by women for women involved in ham radio. And looking at their site, looks like it's $15 a year for membership. And then I found another one here called SOAR, Sisterhood of Amateur Radio. And they apparently, and somebody can fact check me on this one, I think they have a free membership. As long as you have a call sign, you get like a full membership. If you don't have a call sign, you get an associate membership until you get your technician test or general, whatever you're going to go for. So I didn't want to make this all about just me talking to you guys today. I'm actually going to bring in somebody today, and a lot of you people probably know her. You don't think you know her, but you do. She had a little video on YouTube back in 2007 that went around the world 4 times, has over 19 million views. And yeah, so we're going to jump to this clip real quick, and that'll kind of refresh your memory, and we'll come back and have our special guest.
Aim low. It's got about a 3.5-pound trigger.
If she dislocates her shoulder, I'm not driving her. She needs to slam it against a tree or something.
Squeeze it.
Put your tongue back in your mouth.
So with that clip, guys, I want to introduce you guys to the love of my life, my one and only awesome wife, and the Desert Eagle chick from YouTube, my wife, Jackie.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jackie, KI5PVZ, and I am actually brand new to the ham radio scene. I just got my technicians, about a week ago?
About 2 weeks, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Wasn't too far out. So before we jump into the video or into the topic we're talking about here, a lot of people now just realize that you're the Desert Eagle chick, and you've never been on camera or on any kind of live except for that particular video we did back in 07. And there's so many comments on that video from people that watched it, and they were like, oh, they're out there shooting on a golf course or shooting in a park. Yeah, we brought a Desert Eagle 50 cal out to a park, and we're shooting guns on a golf course. And no, it was actually a friend of ours has a ranch out west, and we were out there for my birthday, and 160 acres of land. Like, hey, let's bring some toys to play with. So we're out shooting things all day long, and it was a lot of fun up until the cops showed up. Like, could you guys maybe aim a little further that way, because you're flying bullets across the highway? So yeah,
We were pinging off the VFW.
Yeah, that's a great idea, right?
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we shot the video, and originally it was just for our friends just to shoot. We thought it was just so funny what happened, and we didn't know what was going to go on, and I wasn't being like a masochist here and handing her a big hand cannon. She saw me shoot the damn thing.
I actually asked for it.
Yeah, she actually asked to shoot it after seeing me, and I told her it's got a lot of kick to it, and she didn't really believe me until she tried it herself. Anyway, so that's the backstory on that, and that's the girl. Actually, another thing, we after that video came out, we would go to like gun stores or go to gun shows, and she'd get recognized. We get recognized at the range. Like, are you that girl from the thing? And we ended up going out to the gun shows. We set up a little table, and she actually set up there. We had little snapshots. I printed a bunch of little snapshots of her shooting the gun. And she set an autograph for people, and just they get to get a selfie with her and stuff. They take pictures, and it was a lot of fun. We kind of milked it for all it was worth, but it was all over the place. It went around the world. It's been on TV 4 or 5 times. It's being shot or shown to like the different sheriff's departments to demonstrate recoil, and it was a lot of fun. I think you.
It was a lot of fun,
despite the fact that it almost clocked you. Okay, so the topic today we're talking about is just, we're talking about ham radio, and we're talking about getting women involved in ham radio. And I thought, what better way to do this than to bring somebody in who's female? And she kind of fought it at first, and she kind of saw the stuff that I was doing, and something piqued an interest. So I got a couple questions here. So we'll start off the first one here. What sparked your interest in ham radio?
Well, I'm actually one of those weird females that's interested in STEM. So the first thing that interested me was the science of it. I'm not a huge fan of digital. I prefer mechanics, and the analog thought process for ham radios just fascinated me. The wavelengths, the antennas, how everything just ties all together. It sparked an interest in me. I wanted to know more.
And you kind of end up enjoying a little bit of it, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
watching me get all these toys.
Oh yeah,
really?
I have some serious radio envy.
And she wasn't going to get into it at all, guys. I mean, she was, you know, she's like, that's your thing. You go do your thing. You go have fun. And, you know, she let me kind of play around and buy lots of equipment. All right. So, like, you don't have to get overly, I mean, I know you're still very new into this. And, I'm relatively new myself. Of course, I've immersed myself into the hobby so much that it became a lifestyle now. What are you looking to get out of the hobby? What things are you trying to do? Or what things interest you? What aspects of ham radio might interest you in your journey?
What interests me most is the communication. It's connecting with people, seeing how far I can get. I think it would be fascinating if I could talk to somebody in Poland, because that's where my people are from.
Yeah.
And doing it for free makes me even happier.
Yeah. So you took your test a couple weeks ago, and I got a couple questions pertaining to that, because I think a lot of women might be, I don't know, nervous or put off by it, or don't know what to expect. And I want to get your aspect or your viewpoints on your experience with all that. First, just talking about the test itself. Did you find studying for the test to be challenging? And if so, what parts were challenging for you? What parts were easy? And what did you do to get through so you were able to understand it?
Most of the test was actually easy for me. I used the, what's the name of that book that you have? The amateur test.
The make it easy. The test.
Yes. Yeah. I use that a lot.
Yeah, that's the get your technician license the easy way.
Right. That's the one.
Yeah.
And I use that a lot. The hardest part for me was understanding the formulas between translating wavelength into frequency and how you determine the wire length for your antenna for which frequency you're trying to get set up for. And that's still a little bit tricky for me, but fortunately I've got you. You are my number guru.
Yeah, sometimes.
so if I have any questions, I can always go to you.
But I mean, I showed you a couple cool little tricks and ways, because I know even for me, in learning how to do everything, there were some parts that were tough, and I had to kind of figure out a way to get through it in my own head. And what I did for the test, I found I'd memorized a lot of the answers, but if I saw a certain word in the test or a certain question in the test had a certain word, I knew the only answer could be whatever the answer was that I memorized, and that helped me out a lot. And I think that helped you a little bit too, right?
That did help me out a lot. There were a lot of the formula type questions where I had triggers set up. If I saw a question that had this kind of wording in it, or it asked this kind of a question, then I knew, okay, go to this pattern, and that would bring the formula up into my head. And once the formula came up into my head, it was real easy to determine which of the answer was correct, because it's kind of obvious once you get there. Some of the questions that they list down in your multiple are so out there that they can't be right.
Yeah, they really want you to pass the test.
They really do.
I think they kind of design. I mean, there are some questions you have to know certain things, but they want people involved in this, because the more people that are involved, there's more outreach, more people that can help out in the community, more people get involved in the hobby, and so they're not going to make it impossible. I mean, there are some tough questions. I'm not gonna lie to you. There are some tough questions on there. But if you're taking the tests, the practice tests, and you're studying and learning and using all the resources, go check out the Ham Radio for Non-Techies website. I've got every single resource, phone apps, books, all kinds of online resources for stuff to help you study and get you to pass your exam.
QRZ was an exceptionally useful resource for me. I was up there every night, taking multiple tests, and their QRZ offers a multiplicity of ways to practice for it. You can go through the entire group of questions,
right?
And if you miss one, it will bring it back up later on in the question. If you just take the quick practice test after you've after you go through it, it'll tell you how many you've gotten correct, whether you passed or not, and it will tell you which sections you missed questions in. And you can actually go back into each of those sections that you missed a question in, and it will pull up all of the questions out of that group for that section. So you can test all the way around the question that you missed.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we're trying to figure out ways to and attract other women to get into this. What would you say to other women looking to getting their technician license, looking to get into ham radio? What's your advice to them?
It's a lot easier than what we've all been led to believe. I grew up in the 80s, so I had this whole big thing about CBs and ham radios, and it's only the geeks, and you have to build your ham radio, and there's soldering and wire and components, and no, it's not like that. It's really simple. It's it's work, but anything that's worthwhile takes some effort and a little bit of work on your part. That's what makes it worthwhile.
Well, you can get into the point where you're building stuff and you have all those wires and transistors and stuff.
Oh yeah, you can.
You can build out a radio if you want, but the technology's come so far now. It's just much easier now just to go buy a radio.
Oh yeah, you can buy a radio that will have all of your settings and all of your options. You can get some that will only go in the UHF and VHF band. You can have some that only go into the HF. You can have dual band screens, triple band screens. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy
There's
stuff,
a lot
out
of stuff
there.
out there.
There's
for
a
sure.
lot of stuff out there to make it simple for you. But if you want, if you're like me, if you want to get into the bits and bytes and wires and components, then it's available. And there are so many Elmers, there are so many specialists out there in the field that are more than welcome to just give you all of their knowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
They want you to have just as much fun with this as they have. And I can't wait to do a POTA. I am so waiting to do a POTA. I want to do a Parks on the Air. I want to get out of the house, out of the city, out into the nature, and I want to make my antenna work, and I want to hit people all over the place, doing POTAs all over. It just sounds like so much fun.
I think it probably will be, and we're going to definitely we're going to do a couple practice runs here with that pretty shortly, and we got more stuff coming in.
Yeah, we still have some more antennas, we have some more gear, and we have some more kit that we need to get.
So you touched on this a little bit a minute ago about the test itself, and how was the test for you, and what was your experience in taking the test?
I have a little bit of test fright sometimes.
Is that like Mike Fright just with tests?
Yeah, it's like I've studied for it. I know all the answers. I get in front of the test and everything flies out of my head. And I was kind of concerned about that because I had about 20 minutes before the room was opened up and everything was set up. So I'm like, am I going to freak out? Am I going to freeze up? Blah, blah, blah. But I got in there and all of the VEs were really attentive. Nobody talked down to me. Nobody's like, oh, you're a girl and so, here you go and da 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 da. No, it was nothing like that. It was like, hey, it's really good to see ya. I'm glad that, we got a female in the class. We need to get more females in. Here you go. Here's your test. Here's your instructions. If you have any questions, feel free. We're always here to answer any questions. We're not going to answer any questions on the test for you. But it was a really comfortable experience. Once I turned the test over, I think it took me about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
to get through it.
It's pretty quick to take the test. You're gonna spend a lot of time studying. You spend a couple days, or you can technically, if you really applied yourself, you could study for this test and take it in like a week, maybe two if you've never done. I mean, I do lots of computer related stuff in my professional life, but I don't get into electronics that much. At least not with radio waves and frequencies and all the stuff that ham radio encompasses. And even me just grabbing these books, these different books that I got, sitting down, reading them, studying them, and applying myself to it, really dedicating to it and getting that motivation going, I was able to do it in about a week or two. Went and took the test, and I got, 34 out of 35, correct?
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad. And it doesn't really matter. As long as you get a passing grade on it, it doesn't matter how many you got right. You're still a technician. You're not any less of a technician if you get 26 right versus getting all 35 right. So
Actually, after you take the test, if you ask the VE how many you got right, he won't really tell you. He's like, "Oh, you passed. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many you passed."
yeah,
Well, the way that our testing session was laid out, he inadvertently laid down the whole package that had my test in it, and it kind of fell with the answer just kind of sticking out. And so, yeah, I got 34.
34. Wow.
Yeah.
You matched me. That's awesome.
I got 34 out of 35. So, yes.
And you said the VE. Now, a VE, if you guys don't know, like I said, I try to keep things basic here. VE is a volunteer examiner, and those are the people that administrate the test when you go and take your ham radio test. So you said you were treated really well. They didn't go out of their way to make a big deal about you being female. Other than say, "Oh, it'd be a great to have a female here," but they didn't really.
No.
Okay.
No.
So that's cool.
He's like, "Oh, it's great to see you here. I'm glad you're coming in to take the test. Do you got any questions? Okay, well, we're going to set everybody up, and then we'll be passing out the tests, and go ahead and fill out this first section in pen and da-da-da-da-da. Make sure you use your FRN number." He was just very straight to the point and informative. I did actually have a question, and so halfway through I raised my hand and I said, "Do I fill this section out in pen or pencil?" And he's like, "No, you answer that in pen." I'm like, "Okay, great." It was no big deal.
Well, at least they, it's good that they were helpful, and they were assisting, and just doing their job. And because I think a lot of times women probably think they're going to get some like special preferential treatment or be treated like they're put up on a pedestal or soapbox, like, "Oh, there's a female in the room." Yeah.
Porcelain is what I hate.
Porcelain doll.
Yes. I am not a porcelain doll.
You were definitely not. So I think it's a good thing that, for lack of a better phrase, you're treated as just one of the other guys that comes in there. You come in and get your test, you pass your test, you get your license, you get your call sign, and you bail out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to wrap this up here. I think. What would you say to women about getting into ham radio? Any women that might be interested? Do you think that it's something they should pursue? Is there a place for women in ham radio? Just go with that.
There is definitely a place for women in ham radio. There's actually a couple in our net down here that we go on and listen on a lot. And oh man, they're a kick in the pants. The conversations are not always so techie. Conversations cover books, sci-fi movies, music, cooking, gardening, everything. Survival, which was another thing that turned me on. I like being able to access when everything is hit, when all of the stuff has hit the fan. I really like being able to access, and I also like being able to access without anybody listening in.
Well, I was discussing earlier before you came onto the show about how it's good if you had your radio license and were out camping or hiking, because guys love using that famous last phrase of their life. Go, "Hey, baby, watch this," or "Hey, watch me do this." And next thing you know, and my example is, "Hey, babe, watch me climb this rock." Next thing you know, you're under the damn thing.
Yeah.
Having more than one operator, I think, is probably not a bad idea if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're miles and miles away from any kind of help.
It's always better to have backup. And I like to be backup for you, and I like that you're backup for me.
Yeah. Well, we make the perfect team.
Yes, we do. Booyah.
Booyah. All right. Well, you got any final thoughts on anything, or is that pretty much it?
I think that's pretty much it. women should definitely get into it. Girls should get into it. There is a lot available for us. There's stuff that's out there that is specifically for us. It's like, you know, Women's Net. They're out there.
Yeah.
You can get on this. There's contesting, and you know, contesting is just a thrill anyway, seeing how far you can get and how many you can get. But it's a fun hobby. It actually has brought us together.
Yeah.
We do more. I've actually assisted with a couple of his antenna builds.
Well, actually, yesterday we went down, and this is thanks to some other YouTubers out there that you guys are spending make me spend money a lot.
I know.
But we went out and we bought a Raspberry Pi, and I bought the special little case for it. And this is basically a desktop computer. It's a complete desktop computer with its own version of Office on there, its own browser. It's got wireless. You can wire it into a network, hook up a keyboard and mouse to it, and and of course a monitor, and it's a fully working
It's
computer.
really cool.
You know, we had to get through a couple little things with some of the language. It's a whole different language. You have to kind of learn to program a couple little things, but use the same phrases over and over again. So we're screwing around with that. And she's also helped me out with a couple of antenna builds and getting into the involved with that stuff, like going into building the toroids or making the toroids into transformers and things like that, and just learning about different wavelengths and wire and soldering stuff and things like that. So we've it's kind of given us something we can do in addition to everything else we do together. It's given us more of a connection. So, you know, you guys out there, you got girlfriends, you got wives, talk about that. Show them this video. Let them hear it from my wife.
Yeah,
right here.
I fought it and I fought it. I didn't want to get into it. It's like, you know, dude, techie geek, you know. But watching you, because I would sit and watch the YouTube videos with you.
Yeah, and you still do. We still kick back.
Oh, yeah.
We have our Saturday night ham radio we watch, and a bunch of our fellow YouTubers put out a bunch of videos on Saturday nights. We watch those and jump on the Discord and do after chats and just discuss ham radio till 2 or 3 in the morning while we drink beer.
Yeah. And the more that I would watch with you, the more interesting it sounded to me and the more interested I got. So definitely it's something that the two of you can do together. You can get the kids into this.
Yeah.
It's the whole field is set up to be a wholesome network. You're not going to have to worry about language. You're not going to have to worry about what your kids are hearing or seeing when you're not around and they're on the ham radio, because the only thing they could be hearing or seeing is more technology, more information.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Well, our son, when I went to go take my technician, my son went with me and took his technician. We both got our technician the same day, and then just same time she got her technician a couple weeks ago, he upgraded and got his general.
Yes, he did.
Don't know what he's going to do with it yet. He still hasn't really kind of figured that part out, but that's coming along. But, you know, something else I wanted to touch on, for those of you, you know, for you ladies out there think, well, you know, that test is probably really, really hard, or blah, blah. I'm going to give you the same challenge I give to the guys. All right. There was a 9-year-old girl recently who studied for the test. Her parents, I guess, were hams. They gave her the resources to study. She went in with nothing and walked out with an amateur extra. Took all 3 tests, aced all 3 tests, came out with an extra.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes that excuse away. And you know, in my SEO world, I do SEO for clients, and we have an SEO group where we teach SEO and WordPress and stuff like that to people. The main mantra is F your excuses. Stop making excuses. Imperfect action is better than no action. Get out there and do something. So I'm telling you right now, F your excuses.
Just do something.
Yeah, just do it. Get out there and do it. I mean, if an 8-year-old or 9-year-old girl can get through it, you know, I've heard things about 11-year-old kids, 12-year-old kids, all going in with these things and coming out. It's not that hard. You only have to do it once. Your license is good for 10 years. And then you just renew it. As long as you renew it in time, you don't have to take the test again. There's no downside to it. You only got to study for this stuff once. And you can pass those books on if you got family. You know, we're getting my parents are getting into this now. I'm trying to get my sister into this. I'm trying to get my friends into it.
I'm gonna get my mom and stepdad into it. They live up in Idaho, and
Yeah.
it's not always that easy to be in communication with them because they don't have a good phone network.
Yeah. So,
But they can throw up an antenna and talk to me down here and not have any problems.
yeah, hopefully. So with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I thought this was something that needed to be discussed, and I thought, you know, I could sit here and talk to you guys all day long and just have me give my male opinion of it, but I thought it'd be better to bring in somebody who's not only new to ham radio, but is also female, and my awesome, gorgeous wife, and have her explain her experience in getting into this, and you know what she's looking to get out of it. So with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Please give me a thumbs up. Consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And if you have questions about anything, leave the comments down below. I do spend part of my mornings, every morning, I'll go back through and I read all the comments. I try to respond to every comment and, you know, just give feedback. I do like to interact with you guys, like to interact with my viewers, my subscribers. If you're going to take time to watch my videos, the least I can do is come back in and respond to you or help you out with a question or something like that. So I really appreciate the support. I appreciate all the new subscribers we got. And I think as of right now, I think we're approaching 450 subscribers in just under 2 months of being on YouTube. So that's fantastic.
That is amazing.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
I'm hoping
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Very much.
I'm hoping to get a lot more, but we'll see what happens. But until then, guys, I am KI5NPL.
And I'm KI5PVZ.
And this is Ham Radio for Non-Techies 73.
73.